It's time for Prime on Prime. Welcome back to the channel, my kid Azarus Prime, and today we are taking a look at Titan's Return Power Master Optimus Prime, the leader class figure. One of the first ones I got, along with Skull Smasher, Hardhead and Scourge. This was the one I was wanting. He is a retool, a heavy retool of Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, which kind of makes me think when I do my top 10 Titans Return figures, should I qualify this guy? I don't know, because I omitted Skywarp because he wasn't a Combiner Wars original mold from my Combiner Wars list. Is a great fucking figure though, and the amount of differences between him and Ultra Magnus is quite staggering. We'll get to the we'll do a comparison with Ultra Magnus later on, but yeah, Optimus Prime with Apex. Apex is his Titan Master, named I believe after the armor, because in Japan, Super God Master Force, you had Super Jinrai, and then you had God Bomber, who became the God Jinrai armor. But in the West, they didn't want to cause any religious issues, which is totally fine, by the way. I completely understand why they did it by having something called God Bomber. You can understand why they wouldn't go down that rabbit hole. So they renamed it Apex Bomber. And he had the Apex armor, and it seems that they've named the Titan Master after the Apex armor because we have Apex in there. And we'll have a look in more detail in a minute at Apex himself. But for the time being, let's just look at this really nice figure here. Like I said, a lot of differences between Prime and Magnus. But it just looks great. This whole thing on the front is a bit weird. But, you know, he's listed as a Power Master, but he's not a Power Master. But I can overlook that. He does homage the original Power Master Prime with the shoulder cannons there. They're really nice. So he has two places to hold Titan Masters there in his base mode. The guns are the same as Magnus. Yeah, they're the same guns as Ultra Magnus, but he still has the finger articulation, but he has two ports in these panels underneath his hands that help the guns sit in place better, which Magnus was lacking, and consequently Magnus's guns tend to fall out of his hands a lot easier. A lot of like beigey grey plastic on this toy, on the shoulders there, all across the top, on these cannons, the trailer panels on the back of his arms, and then that carries down into the waist, the thighs, and then the sides of the thighs as well for the trailer parts. Some nice blue bits to offset it though. There is a lot of grey in this figure, but there's enough colour elsewhere to mitigate it. It's not like what's his face fucking Skydive where it's all just dull all over. There's enough colours that pop in this figure to make it to break it up nicely. So it doesn't look that bad, does it? I mean, obviously, the Super Jinrai one has more red, and I think some white as well. But you know, it's still a decent figure, and I like the colour balance. It's a nice colour balance, I'll say. Yeah, it has some nice. There's some nice sculpting. Like underneath, you can almost see the grill under that weird ass Power Master type thing that's gone over the front. You can almost see a standard truck grill He's got those weird windows that are really narrow, which I kind of dig, because it does make it look otherworldly, much like the Magnus one did. Some nice sculpting in the shoulders and the forearms, which are all one piece, by the way. Magnus's, you've got the outer part that folds down for his vehicle mode. This is all one piece. Bit hollow on the inside, but yeah, I think Magnus had hollow internal forearms as well. But still some nice sculpting. Let me take his guns out for a sec. Some nice sculpted detail in the forearms, and even in the above there, between the forearm and the shoulder, look in the bicep area, some decent sculpting there. Same on the crotch and the legs as well, especially the hip parts. Nice sculpting there. I've just got a message through, that's why the lighting may have changed. I wish they'd stop with that. And then the shins. Nice fucking detailing in the shins around there, and the piston effects up there, and the knees. The feet, a bit hollow underneath, but you know, they are decent feet. He holds a good pose. Around the side, it's all just the trailer parts and the cab parts around the back and the side, so we won't pay too much attention to that. Let's take a look at his Titan Master Apex. Very Orion Pax. He has no mouth plate in this mode. I have 4 Prime / packs from Titan's Return. I have the 2 Voyagers, the laser version from the Chaos and Velocitron set, and the standard Voyager. And I also have the Orion packs that came in the 2-pack with War for Cybertron Deluxe Prime. So yeah, there are a good, decent, all the heads are different, and I appreciate that. And I like that this has fucking messages. Fuck off. Don't talk to me. It's a group chat, so they're all talking about fucking energy drinks or some shit like that. Do what you gotta, I guess. But yeah, we can get back in focus, there we are. It's a very nice Orion Pax style head, with the big eyes and the little smile, and yeah, I dig it. Eyes may seem a little bit big on the Prime head, but there, keep in mind you've got the massive helmet to go under, so they're mainly done to scale with that, aren't they? Let's take a look at Apex. It's quite basic. Grey head with the grey legs, and not a lot of detailing in the figure, but most of the detailing is going to be in the big figure itself. Probably the best I'm going to get. Let's just jump ahead quickly, and I have the Titan's Return Orion Pax here. And there's his head sculpt, and if we compare the two, decent little Orion Pax head sculpt. Let's swap the heads over quickly. I'll do a full review on Orion Pax later down the line, but yeah, it still works as an Orion Pax head. The blue's different. He has the more light powder blue on the Orion Pax one, but the and he's got a richer dark blue, a more royal blue on the fucking messages. You can see it better there actually, can't you? But yeah, so the blue, there's a contrast there. It doesn't quite match up, but it still passes for an Orion Pax head. So, yeah, points for that. Let's just for a laugh use the Orion Pax head in the Power Master body. So as you can see, the eyes don't really show up as good. You can see the eyes still in there, but they're smaller because Pax's the eyes on the Orion Pax head are smaller because they are more designed for Orion Pax. The eyes on Apex's Titan Master mode are designed more for Optimus Prime. I'm just gonna get rid of all that and see if that mitigates this blur issue. It seems to have done the trick actually. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of ways to play around with it and have fun with these figures, especially if you have more Optimus Primes. You can really mess around with the fuck off with the little Titan Masters and doing my fucking head in now. I'm gonna just delete notifications from that group. Back in a sec. Okay, so I got rid of notifications for that group. It was really getting on my tits. I'm trying to do stuff here. Don't mind talking to the boys, but you know, got shit to do. But yeah, as you can see, with Apex, the eyes are a lot more prominent, bigger, more visible. Still looks okay using Pax's head in there, but you know, it's harder to see the eyes. Let's get to points of articulation and then we'll do a comparison with Ultra Magnus. So his arms do go all the way around. He has a full 360 degree head swivel. If you take the Apex Prime helmet, he could turn his head all the way around, but his helmet follows and kind of catches on the smokestacks. Arms can go out. You can lift these cannons up to get a better outward range on the arm. They go forward. Yeah, we know they go forward. Bicep swivel. There's an elbow bend. No wrist swivel because it's all molded into the trailer panels. No waist swivel. Legs go forward. Nice ratchet and clicks. They go out. You got thigh swivel, which is kind of like the trailer kibble. Kind of, it knocks into it a bit there. Knee bend. Again, nice clicks on the knee. Forward, backward ankle. And that's it. So yeah, all in all, it's a step up from Combiner Wars Prime. I do like it. I don't think it's as good as the Power of the Primes Leader Optimus, but it's you know, for what it was, for what they've done, turning Ultra Magnus into this. Because usually you turn Prime into Ultra Magnus. This time they've gone backwards on themselves. They've done a really good job of it. And it fits into the Titan Returns line, I guess. Because, you know, Power Masters, Headmasters, they all came from that same fucking era. So whether it's a Headmaster or a Power Master, he still was around that time. I don't mind him being a Headmaster. I don't mind at all. Like I said, there's a lot of grey on this. There is, yeah, especially around the back. But, you know, the front has enough paint there to offset it and break it up a little bit, balance out the colours. all in all, a good figure. And yeah, I think I still prefer Ultra Magnus over this in terms of the mold, because it was clearly designed to be Ultra Magnus. Prime came second. But still a very good robot mode. Let's get to a comparison with Ultra Magnus, shall we? Okay, so here we have Titan's Return Optimus Prime, with his mold brethren, if you will, Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, and it's going to be quite the comparison because there's really there is a lot of differences. Like Prime, Magnus has the shoulder panels that can lift up to offer more range of movement in the arms. This is the Platinum Edition Ultra Magnus. Like I said before, Prime has the little tabs, the little slots there, where the guns can fit. Magnus doesn't have that because he has gappage on the underside. So Prime can hold his weapons better than Magnus. The forearms are very different because, like I said, Prime's is all molded in one piece. Magnus's, these bits fold down to extend his arms for the vehicle mode. The shoulder pieces are different. I believe, I'm not sure, I think the upper biceps are going to be different as well because, you know, Magnus has the massive shoulder poles that come out. Prime just has these little thruster type things. The chest detailing is different. Obviously the heads are different because Magnus is not a headmaster. He has a little Minimus Ambus sitting inside him. Yep, the chest panels are definitely different there. Even it will see more in more detail when we get to the truck modes, but even the lights on the cab are sculpted differently. So yeah, there's that. The crotch is different. Pretty much everything is different, although I have just spotted something that's the same. The thighs are the same. The hips, and actually just the hip part. The second part of the thigh is different, as you can see. The shins are sculpted differently. And the feet appear to be the same. I think the feet are the same. Let's go around the side. And obviously the trailer kibble is going to be different. Magnus has painted rims on the wheels. I'm trying to see if my standard one has painted rims. Can't tell from here. Prime doesn't have painted wheels. So yeah, because they form different trailers, they're going to be obviously have different back leg kibble. Magnus has more hollow parts in his hamstring areas. Prime doesn't have as much. He still has the upper parts the same as Magnus, but the lower part is solid. Yeah, obvious differences there. So there is quite a lot that's gone into this. I don't know if it's fair for me to say I like Magnus better because they are just so different, but yeah, they do come from the same mold. And Prime looks a lot more beefy than Magnus does. It might just be his stance. I can't close his legs together properly because trailer shit gets in the way. But I don't know. I think Magnus pulls it off better. It's definitely a design intended for Ultra Magnus. But that's not to take away from Optimus Prime because they did a great job of turning it into Optimus Prime. It's easy to turn Optimus Prime into Ultra Magnus. You paint it white. Turning Ultra Magnus into Optimus Prime is a bit of a bigger task. So, yeah, there's definitely points for that. They've done a great job with this. Let's get Prime into his... We'll go with his truck mode. Okay, so here we have Optimus Prime in his truck mode. It's not really a lot I can talk about without the Magnus comparison, so we'll get to that shortly. Couple of hollow bits in the trailer there, big hollow bit there, so it's not like you can really store anything without it falling out. But again, it's remarkably different to the Magnus trailer. You've got his side Power Master cannons that store up there, his guns can store up there, although they would probably, if you shot them, they would hit that ridge there, so maybe it might be best to store them on the side above the wheels like Magnus's do, like so. So you can get a better fucking angle. Yeah, transformation's fun. It's little bit tricky in certain areas, but it's decent enough. It's probably easier to do than Magnus's transformation because the trailer is all like more. It folds into one piece. With Magnus, there's a lot of gaps, and especially with the Platinum Edition, it does tend to because some of it's painted differently, it doesn't hold as well. Just as a note, standard Combiner Wars Magnus doesn't have painted wheels, so yeah. But yep, the cab's nice. It's strange, but in a good way, because like the grille tends to really overshadow the windows, but I don't hate that. At least all the windows are fully painted in. Nice chrome grille with the Autobot symbol there. And that nice like mesh effect in between the bars on the grille. So yeah, they've really done a decent job with it. The lights and the bumper, like little grille bits around there. At the sides, pretty standard. You got the little ladder that goes up that isn't painted. But yeah, smokestacks, they're short, but they're fine. Yeah, nice little cab. Let's just have a quick look, because you can, much like with Minimus Ambus, you can open up the cab. The cool thing is, when you fold down Power Master Prime's helmet, it actually forms a seat that you can sit little Apex in. Let's just get him into position. And then you just put Apex in there and you plug him in. If you don't drop him, you plug him into that bit there at the back of his feet, and then the rest of him should just slide in nicely and he sits there, and then you can close it all up. Actually, that seems to be a bit... I need to bring the arms out a bit. That might do the trick. As if he's holding a steering wheel. Let's try that. It's a bit tricky because the cab panels don't all fold out fully. No, the arms don't help at all. So let's put the arms down. It's a bit of a tight fit, but Apex is in there, which is a nice little touch, because I don't think Minimus Ambus could fit in the Magnus cab, because Magnus's head was in there with no way of having any, seating facilities, because Magnus's head took up all the space. So yeah, let's get to a comparison between Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus in their vehicle mode. Then we'll get to Prime's base mode, and then we'll wrap it up there. Okay, so I've took Apex out just so I can close up the cab a little bit better. I'm not going to go into detail about the paint because this is the premium edition Magnus I'm using for the comparison. I'm just looking at the moulding overall because this is painted differently to the standard Magnus, and it's not Optimus Prime, so it's bound to have a different paint scheme. But even the cab is different. If you look at the front of the cabs, you've got Prime has a more dominant grille. Still has those small, narrow, angry windows that go around the side. Primes go all the way around. Magnus has just a little bit. But it looks, Magnus has this extra lip on the roof that gives him like a proper angry truck face. And the grille's smaller. It's still a decent enough grille, but it is smaller. I'm trying to zoom in there, see if I can get... I don't think it has the mesh detail underneath the grille. And as I mentioned earlier with the lights, Magnuses go up in a diagonal, vertical way, and Primes are horizontal, with an unpainted bumper except for these little grille extensions on the sides. They both still have the same ladder. So, there are still some elements that are reused. I mean, that's a really fucking small door. I mean, who's going to fit in there? Ambus can't fit in there. A Titan Master can't fit in there. And where are you going? The fucking cab's up here. Is it like for really, 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 really small people? And they go in there and then they go up another little ladder and then they're finally in the cockpit. Or the driver's seat. It's weird, that is. I find that a little bizarre. Even the smokestacks are different. As you can see, Primes has those inverted bump smokestacks, and Magnus has just three little arrow type things down there. So yeah, a lot of differences even in the cab mode. Let's go to the trailers. Obviously the trailers are where the main difference lies. Vehicle, I'll turn that fucker off. Vehicle mode, it's a vehicle carrier, sorry, and a lot of hollowness there and up the top, whereas Prime's trailer is, with the exception of those bits and that bit there, is all fully fucking, oh, and that little bit there's a little gap there. But I'm fine with them having that little gap, because otherwise it would add too much fucking paneling to the back of the forearms, I feel. So it's a compromise I'm fine with. Otherwise, if they filled in that gap, that's more fucking plastic sticking out beyond the forearms, isn't it? The trailers, you can't really compare because they are so different. The back assembly is similar. The feet there. Like I said, the shin panels that make up the doors that come down in trailer mode, they're different. It's a bit tricky to compare the trailers because they are very different. The cabs, that's probably where the best comparison lies, because I wasn't really expecting that much difference between the cabs, to be honest. But yeah, that is Optimus Prime in his truck mode and Ultra Magnus in his truck mode. Again, considering it was designed for Ultra Magnus and considering how it usually goes, oh, let's turn Prime into Magnus, we'll paint him white. I'm really impressed with the job they did making Prime so different to Magnus. Let's get Prime into his base mode, and then we can wrap up the video there. Okay, so his base mode is a bit tricky. It doesn't sit as flat as the Soundwave and Blaster base modes do, but it does evoke the G1 base mode, or the Master Force base mode at least. It's not the best one, I'll be honest. It's, like I said, it's a bit of a bitch to get into position properly. You can have the guns on the side shoulder parts and then fold those down. That's just for a bit of extra reach, so you can They don't hold, they tend to bend under the weight, but you can do that, I guess. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, this one. Like I said, it evokes the Master Force base mode, and it's decent enough, I guess. You can't detach the cab, so I guess it's a mobile base mode if you wanted to be really weird and scrape his legs along the ground. It's just a case of lining shit up and getting it right, and even now I don't know if I've done it completely. But there are a lot of Titan Master ports and places where you can stick a Titan Master to, you know, do shit. You've got your shoulder cannons there that Apex or any other Titan Masters can sit in, like so. And then you also have a couple of Titan Master ports pegs there and there. And there's one at the back there. And then the same on this leg. 1, 2, 3. There's one there as well. And so there'll be another one on that leg, so that makes 8. But they're ramps, so you can, stick your Titan Master on any one of those. Get back here. There's even ones there and there, so you can have them fucking. I don't know how you do that unless you were gonna put the gun turrets down like that and then position your Titan Masters around there. That can work as well, I guess. There's even ones on the cab as well, if you look. So yeah, there's a lot of playability with it. If you've got a lot of Titan Masters, you can really have, Prime's defense, his base mode fortified and being defended. Fucking flip off. So you got Apex there, and then you can have Prime Masters littered about all over the place. There's quite a lot of room for the Prime Masters. Let's just quickly take his guns off, flip them down. Go on, bitch. There we are. Because even those panels there, they kind of look like guns, so they could be firing as well. And then you could put your guns in the side holes. Oh, sorry, there. Like so. Oh, not like so, because I fucked that up, didn't I? Let's try this one. Oh, it's not going in. The problem, I don't have a stationary thing to hold the camera while I'm doing this version. Maybe I should find something. But yeah, there, like so. So there's plenty of variations you can have with the base mode. It's not as tidy as Blaster and Soundwave's base mode, but still a decent little effort. And like I said, there are options to play around with. You can have those up and then the guns on top, and then you can have them go down as platforms, so you've got more space for more Titan Masters and that. So yeah, all in all, it's not bad. It's not the best base mode, but it's serviceable. And I believe that about concludes my review of Titan Return's Titans Return Leader Class Power Master Optimus Prime. It's a decent figure. It's not the best Optimus Prime. It's not even the best Optimus Prime of the Prime Wars trilogy. But it still does a very impressive job of differentiating itself from Ultra Magnus. It really is astounding how different they are once you really look. And it extends beyond the trailer. Don't sue me, beyond the trailer channel, for saying that. It goes beyond that. The cabs are markedly different. You've obviously got the Throne in base mode. You've got the Titan Master pegs. A lot of differences between Prime and Magnus that you might not realise immediately. So, like I said, I've done this before with like, fucking breakdown and wheeljack and stuff like that. I like exploring the little differences. There's obvious differences between the two, but there are subtle differences as well that you might not pick up at first glance. I know I didn't, so it's been fun to go through that. All in all, I really like that figure. He is one of the best of the line. Don't know if he'll crack the top 10 when I get to that, but we'll see when we get there. I'm going to wrap it up here. I've said pretty much all there is to say about it, for me anyway. I'll be back with another review soon. I've been Mike, Desirous Prime, and you shall see me in a bitch.